end of the original Naruto manga series, there was a new character who was introduced which completely confused and confounded everyone. That character was Mitsuki, the son of Orochimaru, at least according to Boruto Naruto the movie, a film which I haven't even seen quite yet. I'm waiting for the official DVD and Blu-ray release stateside. That being said, we just got ourselves a brand new one-shot story from the main man himself, which is all about Mitsuki and his origins, being the sixth and perfect version that Orochimaru has created. This chapter right here was pretty damn good. It really brought me back to Naruto and that old classic feeling I had while reading it, and it did a great job on expanding on the character of Mitsuki, who really has become one of my favorite characters just from this chapter alone. Not only that, but let's just get the elephant out of the room. Spoiler warning if you haven't read this one shot. Mitsuki has an amazingly badass looking form of Sage Mode. That's right, he has mastered it even more than Kabuto, it seems. At the very end of this week's chapter, we get to see Mitsuki go through this crazy transformation sequence where in a fit of rage he activates his Sage Mode, which takes the form of him and his hair constantly spiking up in the air, covered by all of these ethereal snakes, which he can actually use in battle to make himself move faster or even attack other people. And he also has this one massive horn, which is jutting out from his forehead. All I know is, he looks like a demon from hell who is ready to kick all sorts of ass. But the build-up to this scene, oh my lord, the build-up to this scene. Let's just say that this story is about the true origins of Mitsuki and where he comes from. So, basically, we get to learn in this chapter that Mitsuki was created by Orochimaru, but he wasn't the very first Mitsuki that was created. In fact, he's the sixth attempt at perfecting his son, and one of his formers is actually still out there in the world, who is also introduced in this episode. He is a ninja who goes by the code name of Log, and he has these special abilities which allow him to steal the memories of other ninjas. He can also implant these memories in other different ninjas so that he can use them as weapons for his own personal missions. And this guy's design is so damned cool. One of the coolest looking characters that I've seen from the Naruto series. He's got all of this like samurai and ninja armor on. He has this really cool ninja mask and looks like the type of character that I really would have liked to have seen pop up in the actual show. Like, he really could be his very own unique villain, and I was kind of hoping that maybe this was our very first hint to some brand new villains that we were going to see in the brand new Boruto manga spinoff. But that's not actually the case. You see, this entire chapter is really this plan cooked up by Orochimaru to try and unleash Mitsuki's secret abilities, in particular, his Sage Mode abilities, as well as trying to give him sort of a push out of the nest, so to speak. He wants Mitsuki to sort of carve out his very own destiny. And throughout the course of this entire chapter, you can see how sort of Orochimaru has manipulated all of these events, as well as all of the people who are involved in this really crazy plan. So, basically, Orochimaru and Mitsuki are going to go after this ninja who's been stealing other people's memories, and some of the memories that were stolen are indeed Mitsuki's. He cannot remember anything, even the fact that Orochimaru is his parent. His mother, his father, who knows? It's kind of hard to tell with Orochimaru, especially in this week's chapter, especially when he puts up his man bun. He really does start to look a little effeminate. Even more effeminate than usual, and that's a pretty big accomplishment for Orochimaru. The first half of the chapter is pretty much all a build-up with Mitsuki trying to understand what's really going on here, why his memories have been lost, and how he can even decide to trust anyone that he's around right now. I mean, there's a freaky snake dude over there, and then there's Water Boy over here, frickin' Suigetsu, who actually gets in a very small confrontation with him. And this scene was great because it again demonstrates one of Mitsuki's really cool abilities, which is he's able to stretch and contort his arms in a number of different ways. And I really love how when he was attacking Suigetsu, he could sort of move his arm around and bring it up over his body, which was actually holding a kunai in one hand, but he actually ends up hitting his own arm, sort of realizing at the last second that, wait a minute, what am I doing here? I need to get some more solid answers before I start getting all murder, kill on people. And that's when he's confronted by Orochimaru and they decide to go on this crazy mission to go after this ninja by the name of Log, who is stealing other people's memories. and Log hangs out in this really kick-ass looking castle, which is in the middle of this cavern, just standing up out of nowhere. It looks like a setting almost from something like a fantasy manga. It almost seems like it doesn't belong in Naruto, but honestly I love the build up to this, especially because as soon as they break through the barrier, thanks to Mitsuki's special abilities, they are immediately confronted by Log, which leads to this really cool action scene, which, yes, when you don't know it at first, it really does look like Orochimaru might be defeated by this guy, but these are all events which are actually being orchestrated by him, because this guy, this Log Ninja, is actually one of the previous Mitsukis. In fact, he's a much older looking version of the current Mitsuki character that we see, and it looks like he's just sort of doing his own thing and casually working with Orochimaru as well. This entire mission was to draw out his true abilities and to sort of, basically give him his very own path for the future, because Mitsuki has decided that he's not going to work with his older brother, and he's not going to work with Orochimaru as well. He's actually been inspired to go to the Konoha village and be teammates with Boruto being the sun and Mitsuki being the moon. And speaking of the moon, there is a lot of symbolism with that in this chapter, and it's used to some really great effect. I especially loved how at the very beginning of the chapter when Mitsuki is sleeping, his eyes, which are in the shape of a crescent, they immediately fade from the moon to his eyes, which open up, and then in the final panel, when you see him standing on this cliffside with the giant moon in front of him, it's really cool. I especially like how Orochimaru says that his moon is going to illuminate the darkness. Basically, he's going to walk sort of like that fine line between being a good guy and being a bad guy, although leaning, I think, a little bit more towards the good. It really does seem like Mitsuki does have good intentions with what he wants to do with his life. But the fact that he has the Sage Mode ability, my god, can I not wait to see this thing in action in the Boruto manga that's getting ready to come out. That is going to be really exciting, and it already puts him at a really high power level, even more so than a lot of the other younger characters that we've seen from the Naruto series, because there's only so many characters in Naruto who have been able to master the Senjutsu or the Sage Modes, and his looks completely different from the ones that we've ever seen, and has a lot of new abilities attached to it. Like I said, that panel where he just erupts with power looks so creepy and awesome. I love the look of the snakes that are wrapping up and around his body, which are almost ghost-like in the way that they look, and the way he's able to use them to jump away from Orochimaru. It's really damned awesome. And according to Orochimaru throughout this chapter, he has the key and lock to basically the full embryo which created Mitsuki and all these other Mitsukis. But I do think that this was all just a plan to unlock, again, Mitsuki's true powers and to give him some influence to want to go to Konoha Village. Why Orochimaru is so adamant about this is still kind of a mystery to me personally, and it still blows my mind that Orochimaru is even still around in the first place. I mean, look at some of the things that Orochimaru has done in the past in the series, and he's still allowed to perform these really crazy experiments. Are they for the benefit of mankind, or are they simply just another way for Orochimaru to try and take over the world again? He claims himself that he doesn't want the power of the gods, he's simply just using the power that was bestowed upon him. However, I still feel that there's something not quite right about that guy. I've never trusted Orochimaru, and I don't trust him in this chapter either, especially with him even saying that he wants to be a good parent. It all just comes across as really, really creepy. But who knows? I mean, the older Mitsuki seems to be fine with working with Orochimaru, and the older Mitsuki is just so cool. I really hope we get to see the return of that character, maybe even in full costume with his, samurai ninja armor. That was definitely, I think, my favorite thing in this chapter, aside from, of course, Mitsuki actually activating his Sage Mode in this chapter right here. So, we finally got to learn a little bit more about where Mitsuki came from and where he's going to be going later in the series, and I cannot wait to see how they're going to expand on this character, because at this point, he's arguably more interesting than Boruto will ever be. I mean, I think Boruto's a cool character. I mean, just the fact that he's the son of the main character from the series instantly makes him kind of an interesting character, but the fact that Mitsuki was an experimental kid who was created from one of the main villains from the series and is now a good guy just immediately makes him more intriguing. The fact that he's mastered Sage Mode just out of nowhere also just makes it that much better. A great read from beginning to end. It was like the length of 2 manga chapters in one, so it's definitely a more beefier read than your typical Naruto manga chapters, and it also had some great action sequences, some really cool character artwork, and getting to see Mitsuki in his Sage Mode is really the reason to check out this chapter right here. If you wanted to learn a little bit more about this character, aside from the fact that he's simply just the son of Orochimaru who came from nowhere, then this is the chapter for you. It's certainly going to expand on his character, and it already makes him one of the most interesting new Naruto characters that I've seen from the time skip of Naruto. So if I had to give a score to this one-shot right here, I would give it a 5 out of 5. It was a little confusing at first, but after I read it like a couple of times, it really started to make sense. The abilities of these new characters are really awesome. Not even just Mitsuki, but this other older version of him when he's in that armor. His armor can actually be weaponized as well, like when Orochimaru is attacking him with his giant snake. Although this could also be a ruse as well, because he was clearly working with Orochimaru on this plan. That being said, this was all sorts of awesome. Something that all Naruto fans should definitely check out, and it's something that is just begging to be animated. I would love to see an animated special all about this. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen when the Naruto Shippuden anime series finally does come to a real conclusion. If they're going to start animating the Boruto stuff, or maybe they're just going to make more movies based on this material. I have a strong feeling that they're not going to want to let go of the franchise that easily, and we probably will end up seeing like a weekly anime version of Boruto, and maybe some of these stories will be in there as well, like even the one they had with Shin Uchiha from like a year ago. I'd like to see all of those stories animated. I think it would be really cool, if only to see Mitsuki's Sage Mode in anime form. I think that would be all sorts of kick-ass. So this is definitely making me want to watch the Boruto movie even more. I know it's readily available online. I just really want to support the official release when it does come out, because I always like to watch those movies for the very first time on DVD and Blu-ray, and everybody's been telling me that the movie just kicks all sorts of ass, so I can't wait to check that out. So this was a really good one-shot Naruto chapter. Make sure to check it out, Naruto fans. You will not be disappointed. But if any of you guys did read this one-shot special all about Mitsuki, I would love to hear your thoughts about it, and you can tell me in the comment section below. Come on, what did you think of that Sage Mode? Wasn't it pretty freaking awesome? What did you think of the older version of Mitsuki, and what do you want to see more of from this character in the brand new Boruto manga series? Are you excited for the new Boruto manga, or are you just sick of Naruto in general? Maybe they are just milking the series. That being said, I'm sure it's going to deliver some pretty entertaining action, but make sure to tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you for watching this review. I really appreciate it. Make sure to share this video with all of your friends, and make sure to also subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be able to see all of our latest anime and manga reviews as they are released, as well as our weekly podcast show, The Powerful Nerdcast. It's pretty freaking life-changing. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. All that stuff will be in the description box below. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!